All right. Essentially, what this is before I post the Pokemon Heart Gold review, which I was going to review. Yes, that will be for Soul Silver too, I guess. But I'll talk about that more. Before I post that, I'm going to post my favorite Pokemon games of all time. And may I please warn you, there are definitely going to be probably, yeah, I think just two games on here that are going to make you want to smack me across the face. And that's all right. The reason why is because I'm just going to give a spoiler away. I haven't played Pokemon Platinum. My brother got it. I didn't. I skipped that one. So obviously that takes away, and there aren't even 10 handheld main series Pokemon games. I'd have to be having, say, Red and Blue, and, I'm not going to do that. All right, so without further ado, here we go. There are two console games on here. Number 10, Pokemon Coliseum. I never actually had this game. Okay, I did. But I'll explain that in a minute. My friend got this, and he was so excited. He was the biggest Pokemon fanboy you'd ever meet, just like I was the biggest Mario fanboy you'd ever meet. Anyway, I played this all day when he came over to my house, and I loved it. I asked him to if I could borrow it, and he said no, obviously. But I really did enjoy this game. It was a little disappointing that you couldn't pick your own Pokemon, except for the cool lava thing. But I mean, other than that, it was pretty good, and I played the sequel. The sequel wasn't all too good, probably because I was only 10 years old when this came out. And when the second one came out, I was probably, 12, 13. And I loved how it was like gold version, where it would talk about how great the hero from the first one was. And what was exhilarating about that was you are the hero, because if you've played red version, if you played Pokemon Coliseum, you were the hero that they're talking about and referring to, which is kind of awkward in gold version when you have to go against the trainer. But I'll explain that a little bit more when I get to that. Oh, I just spoiled that. That's on the list. Oh, well, you probably figured that. It wasn't too bad. I actually got it for Christmas, but since I already beat the game when I borrowed my friend's copy, he eventually let me borrow it. I just took it back. It was an okay game. I didn't like the sequel, but this one was... Hey, surprise, surprise, number 9, Pokemon Pearl. Alright, I have an interesting story about Pearl. Yeah, okay, technically it's probably the third best when it comes to gameplay, but when it comes to the Pokemon, it's definitely the worst. But not just Pearl, but okay. And yeah, I said I didn't have Pokemon Platinum, but I kind of made up for that because I had both Diamond and Pearl, and I've never done that. I had Red, I had Ruby, I had Gold. Well, I had Gold and Silver. I'll explain that when I get to that too. Yeah, my mom went out and bought Diamond and Pearl. Pearl was for me. Diamond was for my brother. But it turns out my brother already had it, so I just ended up paying for Diamond. I actually also went out. I went on Walmart.com and bought myself another copy of Fire Red, and because my battery ran out and there was something I really wanted it from there. Pearl was an okay game. I didn't like the starters. I like Piplup, but I usually lean towards the fire, and I did not like the fire starter at this region at all. But, yeah, it wasn't too bad. The legendaries were kind of, eh. But, I mean, it was kind of Pokemon selling out, but, I mean, it's no big deal. I mean, wasn't expecting too much, but, yeah. Oh, I also always go for the version that's more like red version, and that would be Pearl. All right, number 8, Pokemon Emerald. I had Ruby, my brother had Sapphire. We always do that. Emerald, I never beat the game. And that's just like a lot of Pokemon games. I actually never beat any of them. I never play any of them. There's only actually been, 3, I think maybe, that I actually completed by myself. Usually someone takes it from me and beats it for me and gives it back. And usually I like that because I don't have to do anything. But, yeah, I only ever got like 1 or 2 badges with Emerald, and I got bored of it. I don't even remember buying it. All I do remember is I got it. So that's why it's so low on my list, because I never really cared for it that much. I didn't really see anything to it. I mean, I know that there were things in it that weren't in Ruby, but Emerald wasn't, it was probably the first Pokemon game that kind of just made me go, eh. Okay, this is where you're going to smack me over the head. Pokemon Channel at number 7. The reason this is because my friend had got this game, another friend, not the one that got Coliseum, he got this game, and he didn't really like it that much. He played it for a little bit, but then I picked it up, and I played it, and I loved it. And I loved coming over his house and playing it. And a few years later, he never really cared for it anymore at all. So he let me borrow it for like a year. And I finally gave it back. Like, he didn't even want it back. I just felt bad for borrowing it for so long. And he didn't even care. He would have let me borrow it longer if I wanted to. He probably would have been giving it to me. Now, I ended up going out and buying my own copy that was used. Anyway, Pokemon Channels, that's about, again, when I was like 10 years old. I loved it. I loved everything cute and cuddly. I still do. But was really sentimental to me because, I got to play with Pikachu. And I love Pikachu. He's so, I played Pokemon Snap, too. That was okay. And Pokemon Puzzle League. My other friend, my fanboy friend, had all of those. But, Pokemon Channel, I loved the little story to it. It wasn't too hard. It was kind of like Animal Crossing, though. Where, if you ever played Pokemon Channel, it might be something fun, but, don't waste money on it, 'cause if you know what you're getting if you try to buy it. And number 6, gold version. Now, when on Christmas Day in my stocking I got silver version, a few weeks earlier my aunt bought my brother gold version. And that really upset me because I wanted to be the one that got gold. My sister had red, my brother had blue, and I ended up getting a red version somewhere, and I don't know if my sister gave it to me. Point is, I knew I have a red version even though I was probably too young to remember it because I still have that red version. I don't have the gold or silver or yellow, but I do have that red version. I still do have it. It still works. I don't know. I started it over or something. Anyway, I was a little upset. I told my brother. My brother told me he'd trade me gold for silver because he wanted silver, and I don't even know if we might have ended up doing that, which was a mistake because I found out my parents did buy me gold. I just had to wait a little bit longer to buy it or to get it. It was wrapped. It wasn't in my stocking. But gold version, I always complained I couldn't get a Pikachu, and everyone told me, if you want a Pikachu, go get a red version, which really ticked me off. Yes, gold version was one of the only other ones I've actually played. I never beat it, but I did play it. All right, this is really funny spawning off of gold. Yellow. I really wanted a Pikachu, and I couldn't get one in gold. Guess what? I have to get one in yellow. I never bought yellow version. My friend traded it to me, and it was already beaten, so I started it over and never bothered to play it. But I love the idea of it so much that I wish that they would just remake this one, which they kind of did with Heart Gold, because your Pokemon follows you around. But yellow version was a very good one. I think it's probably the greatest of the expansions, like Emerald, Crystal, Yellow, or Platinum. I really wish they would have remade Yellow, but they didn't, and that was kind of disappointing. Number 4, Heart Gold version. Not going to give away anything yet. I'm going to wait until the review. It's kind of hard choosing between this one and Gold version. Yes, I did beat Heart Gold. I never beat Gold, but I attempted to. I don't remember much about Gold, so I don't even know how much like it was, but it was a great remake, and I'll explain more of that in the review. But yes, number 4, Heart Gold. Number 3, Ruby version. This was the first Pokemon game I really appreciated. I was, 9 when this came out? Or 8, maybe. It was really fun. I loved it. This is when they say Pokemon started to sell out, and that's true for the show. But for the games, not really until Sinnoh. Ruby, we had this tournament and stuff. We would battle each other. I don't know. But, Ruby, I think I cheated on. I had, infinite Master Balls. And, but Ruby was a really fun game. It'd probably still be fun if I still had Pokemon Red. My first Pokemon game. I was too young to really remember it, but I still remember I had one. I think I got this with my Game Boy Color, which was blue. I originally wanted blue version. Why? Because your character is red and your environment is blue, whereas in red version, your character is green and your environment is red. Except for the cheat code I didn't know about at the time, where you press down on the control pad or something, and your environment would be green and your character would be red. But that's why I really wanted blue instead of red. My parents got me red because I like red more than blue, obviously, and red versions will definitely go down as the greatest Pokemon game of all time, whether it's my favorite or not, but it still is. Fire Red, my all-time favorite Pokemon game. Well, Kanto is my favorite region, And Fire Red, I was old enough to appreciate it, and it was more updated. This is probably definitely the greatest Pokemon game of all time, in my opinion. Not for its time, but it was a remake of the already greatest, and they pulled it off perfectly. You didn't, if you wanted to play Kanto, you didn't have to go back to Gold or Red. No, you could just put in your Fire Red, and I love the commercial. They ripped it off from the show. But this was just probably, this was just awesome. And this is exactly what Pokemon fans wanted. And that's what Nintendo gave it to them. In fact, I think that for the last Pokemon game ever, they should remake Kanto one last time. Just for the classics.